Becoming a YouTube creator was kind of an exciting idea for me. Man, I remember when I first got over a couple thousand views on a short form video. I was pretty stoked about that. Separation or divorce after more than 3 decades, well, it can be tough. And also I can tell you that boredom, it can be dangerous. I think we all recognize that grief can be pretty complicated, but also coping with grief creates quite a bit of empty space in between the difficult emotions. And I think we've all seen the stories or known people where a little bit too much idle time, a person can spiral. I had a good job, had ambitions on travel, was even considering dating some. Plenty of exercise, trying to get a good diet, doing all the things right. But I tell you, I needed a new challenge. I needed something productive in the downtime, after work and on the weekends. Sometimes with my work, I would have long weekends. And those would be kind of difficult. They'd be challenging with doing my thing for a couple days and then having another couple days as like, what do I do now? Who do I call now? Becoming a YouTube creator was kind of an exciting idea for me. And I'm going to share a bunch of reasons why. I think one of the cool things about it was learning a new skill. There's plenty of videos out there on how to film short form videos or long form videos, and I definitely looked at those. But it did create a new skill for me, which did something to expand my horizons. And I gotta admit, creating some of the short form videos, the vertical videos, that's kind of cool because pretty quickly you can start getting 200 or 300 views in short order for filming something more or less ridiculous. Oh yeah, sure, people go viral and all that all the time, but I didn't do that. But there's a term called viral for me. And man, I remember when I first got over a couple thousand views on a short form video, I was pretty stoked about that. And along with that comes like a dopamine hit. I dropped videos and it seemed like the more ridiculous or the more mundane I would send a video out about, I'd get all these views about it. And it's like, why are people looking at this stupid stuff? So yeah, the dopamine hit and maybe some of the attention was cool. Something that really sparked my creative juices. So when I started doing long form videos, I did find that what that did is it helped me do a little deeper thinking. I had to get a little bit more intentional about what I wanted to say in these long form videos. That of course helped me kind of think through some things and put some things down on paper. Some people can get on these videos and just kind of riff and just go on and on about stuff. It's challenging because like when I was first doing long form videos, I'd say so, and it was kind of awkward. So see, there I went and did it again. It was kind of awkward. What I did is challenged myself to get rid of some of these habits and try to articulate a little bit clearer and also really get my thoughts organized. And not everyone loves public speaking. I can tell you that. Learning a new skill also gave me some structure to my days and nights, and it helped me to once again expand my horizons. It's always good to learn a new skill, especially when you're over 50 years old. Sometimes it can be challenging and put you out of your comfort zone, but I liked it. I mean, don't get me wrong, this doesn't replace therapy, talking on video and camera, making videos. If you need therapy, you need therapy. If you need someone professional to talk to, that is what it is. But in a lot of ways, it filled the gaps. And it does help you to get things off your chest a little bit. You can't be too personal with these YouTube videos because you never know who's going to be looking at your stuff from all over the world. But it's a good outlet. The next thing that being a YouTube creator helped me is it helped me think things through out loud. Without a doubt, talking through things does help create some clarity. Like I said before, not everybody wants to be public about what they're going through, and maybe if you got divorce lawyers and stuff like that, yeah, you got to be careful about these things. But for me, it worked. And circling back to the public speaking thing or speaking to others, it does create a space where you have to organize your thoughts, and doing that helps. I know another way that does that is journaling, but not everyone is open to journaling. Journaling helps you organize your thoughts and get some of your your stinking thinking on paper and get some of your motivational thinking on paper, and it helps you process goals, helps you go through some of your feelings. So there's a place for that. Also, creating videos helps you do the same thing, but in a creative space. Something really interesting that I found is in doing research for being a YouTube creator, especially in the space of single men over 50, divorced men over 50, 40 years old, is what I found is it really helped me to see what other guys were going through, what some of the divorce coaches and coaches that deal with men that are going through difficult times, what some of these people say. And really, you got to go through that with open eyes. Go through these different videos. When I was researching, I looked at a lot of different creators. What I found is that some of them have advice that's like, really, what? It's kind of sketchy advice. Some of the advice is really good. Some of it's really heady advice and kind of deep stuff, and maybe I didn't relate to right away. But I did find some interesting content creators, some that were psychologists, right, or psychiatrists, that had a lot of really good things to talk about. So circling back in regard to doing research with how other people create videos, kind of like these talking head videos, what's fascinating enough is going forward a few months, when I started to date, so many women I dated were like, have you done the work? Have you done the work? Like, yeah, I've done the work, sure. I didn't even know what that meant. But having gone through a lot of videos and a lot of kind of self-help stuff, but done research in my video creation, but also listening how some of these other people do it, the coaches, the psychologists, the psychiatrists, the therapists, the social workers, and some of these people are just kind of like self-made. What I found is that they oftentimes gave decent advice to help me process through my post-separation, post-divorce feelings, emotions, decisions I was going through, triggers. And I'll tell you what, believe me, if you get out there dating after being married for a long time, having a different partner, having a different woman, having a different sex partner, all that, you still have the same triggers. You still have the same things that irk you, but in a different way. And so don't think that someone different is going to be like, oh, it's going to be groovy all the time, because you still have your temperament, you still have your irritation factors. But for me, the point is seeing so many videos and driving on the road and listening to YouTube videos, it did help me kind of almost get some therapy on the cheap, right? Therapy that I didn't have to pay for, but a lot of good professional advice from these YouTube creators. But I do have to give caveat. You really, really got to filter the advice you get from the people on YouTube. I remember when I was making a lot of videos on the beach a couple of years ago, I'd go up to the beach here in Florida, and I'd drive about an hour to where I like to go to walk. And the beach I go to has a lot of shark's teeth. And that became one of my pastimes, just to walk for an hour or two, a couple times a week, picking up a shark's teeth. And oh my gosh, I'd videotape those on some short video, mostly short videos. And it was fascinating because a lot of people would find interest in that, and I'd show how to find shark's teeth. That was the thing at the time. And like I said, a quick little dopamine hit, a quick little rush if you get a video that gets a few hundred to a couple thousand views. And I guess, in a lot of ways, those were still small wins, and it was kind of cool. I wasn't relying on someone else to fill my time or fill my space. The times where I didn't have someone to hang out with, and I'm not one to sit at a bar and just kind of drink it up and chat it up with strangers and stuff like that. This next point came further on down in my YouTube creator journey, because it's been a couple of years. A whole bunch of hundreds of short form videos, vertical videos they call them, and a bunch of long form videos that were okay. I'm getting better at it. What I found that was interesting to me is I suddenly found myself wanting to create a community, a place where men could help other men and support other men. Because what I have found out is that women, they really rally around each other in difficult times, and when they're going through divorce, separation, loss, things like that. The women, they rally around each other tremendously. Men, it's kind of different. A lot of men isolate, and if it's people you didn't grow up with or people you don't work with, they see that you're going through a divorce and stuff like that, but they may not have a whole lot to say, and it's they have their own lives. Men, it's not as much, or it's kind of a lot of times shallow conversation, and there's sports talk and stuff like that. But I think sometimes it's good for men to kind of see, hey, I'm not the only one going through this. One of the most important persons that helped me in the first year and a half of my separation and divorce journey was my guitar teacher. And he had been through divorce before, and he didn't say a whole lot about it, but the times he did, he's like, yeah, that was tough. And he was very supportive and keen to lend an ear, and that was helpful. So that's something I thought would be really good to do over time, is create kind of like a YouTube community of a brotherhood of men who can at least be civil to each other and supportive and uplifting to other men. My mission is to talk to men who are going into like their third chapter. They've done their career thing, they've done their family thing, and they've raised their kids maybe. And so they're going into another chapter, maybe approaching retirement. One of the biggest sectors of divorce right now is gray divorce. And it's doubled. Gray divorce has doubled in the last 20 years. And it's way outpaced any other age group with divorce. And that's divorced people over 50. And realizing that different guys are at different places in this journey. And I think it's even cool if I do this, even if it's small at first, and it takes a while to build momentum. There's another thing with YouTube not a lot of people know about, is that YouTube actually is the second largest search engine to Google. Something that's interesting with YouTube is that creators, after several years of working on YouTube, can really make substantial income. It does take a lot of work, and it takes consistency and constant drive. But approaching retirement, I thought, what a cool way to maybe add a few hundred to a couple $1,000s a month of income just from YouTube ad revenue. And it takes years and years to do that, and you have to build your viewership. But it was another drive for me to kind of, hey, if you can do a YouTube video every week for maybe a couple years, what's the difference in going to school and stuff like that and taking a class? But what's cool about YouTube videos is, say you get enough viewership that maybe you can make enough money every month for a car payment, or make enough to put more into your 401k or your or money market retirement savings. And so some people are even like doing these travel videos and stuff like that, and they make huge sums of money. There's one guy I look at in Canada. I think his name is Steve Wilkes. And he basically camps under bridges. He camps behind Dunkin' Donuts and stuff like that. And this dude is making between $10,000 and $20,000 a month just because he's being himself. It's his cool little following in Canada that he has. Yeah, he's making substantial income. I think it's called Camping with Steve. And I like watching him because, he's a regular guy. And that's kind of cool that a regular guy has made it like that, and that he has substantial income like that, because the dude doesn't have to work anymore, I can tell you that. Another factor about being a YouTube creator that is not going to appeal to everyone, but there's haters out there. There's people that'll absolutely dump on you. They will they'll just be angry for no reason, and they'll say ridiculous things, just kind of piss you off. And it is part of it. It's just a numbers game. If you get 100 comments, there's going to be a couple in there that call you ridiculous names and point out flaws in your videos. And what it does is it does build some sort of resiliency and toughness. And if you don't have some toughness when you become a YouTube creator, you're going to have to build it, your toughness, because there are some ridiculous people out there that are just trolls and they're haters. And the best thing I can say about these people is just, swipe left on them, stay steady, and keep on your mission. So a few closing thoughts I want to make about me becoming a YouTube creator, and maybe you want to become a YouTube creator. In the time that I've been after separation, after divorce, and rebuilding my life in a solo world, oh yeah, I have a girlfriend, but I'm still single in that I'm not married, and my retirement finances are on me. I still have to build my nest egg. Months ago, it really did help me with the grief processing. It helped me to create space to think things through and process, not be in a reactive mode and not like sit around depressed or sit around watching a Netflix all the time. And like on some of the other videos I've talked about, movement creates energy. And interestingly enough, in the same regard, creativity lends yourself to movement. And what I found is movement helped lift my mood over time. And also movement created momentum in my life. And also movement helps you build new chapters. Hey, thank you for hearing my story, gentlemen, and I look forward to your comments down below.